The child isn't yours. I'm going to be with Jonah. I stared at Erin standing in the kitchen doorway. She smiled with a provocation that felt like the gravest sentence of my life. She thought she could betray and manipulate me at will, but what she didn't know was this: weeks later she would be isolated and panic-stricken on the streets, and Jonah would utterly lose his footing, all of it only the beginning of my calm reclamation of dignity. Jonah was my once good friend. We had been brothers since college, talking about everything, playing basketball together, pulling all-nighters for assignments, planning our futures. I never imagined he would be her choice and that I would be shut out. Why, you're joking, right? My voice trembled slightly. I'm not joking. Erin stood up, walked to the wardrobe and pulled out a pale blue dress. She twirled, the hem swayed lightly with the motion. Help me pick one. Tell me which looks better, I don't want to embarrass myself. She waved the dress in front of me. It's nice. I forced out 2 words, my voice low. She smiled in satisfaction, sprayed on my favorite perfume twice, then patted the skirt. Wear this tonight when you see Jonah. The door clicked shut behind her, the crisp sound echoed in the empty living room. I stared out the floor-to-ceiling window at the street. The sunlight was piercing and cutting. I slowly sat back on the sofa and set down my half-drunk coffee. The air seemed to freeze. People passed on the street, cars roared, but inside me there was only the weight of betrayal. That night she didn't come home. I sat alone at the dining table, staring at empty plates and unwashed dishes, feeling hollow. The next afternoon she returned, the dress rumpled, her hair messy, but her eyes bright with excitement. We went to the new bar. Jonah was great, he even ordered a cocktail I'd never tried. When did this start? I asked directly, my voice low and calm. What does it matter? You don't look angry at all. I do care. I put down my coffee cup and fixed my gaze on her. You always said we needed novelty, right? This was an experiment. She spoke casually. I walked to the kitchen. In the trash the white edge of a plastic stick peeked out. I pulled it out and looked. The pregnancy test showed 2 clear red lines. My hand trembled slightly as I held the test, but I didn't shout or make a sound. Erin set down a spatula and stood in the doorway, her eyes calm yet provocative. Well? Now you know the truth. The child isn't mine. I repeated in a low voice. I just wanted to see how you'd react. She laughed lightly, like a director watching an actor trapped on stage. I lowered the test back into the trash and said calmly, I know. At that moment I realized this was more than betrayal, it was a psychological game. Erin had planned this, I had been her pawn. The next morning I sat in the living room, staring at the pale blue dress's shadow swaying in the sunlight. Erin was in the kitchen making breakfast, her movements practiced but edged with provocation. Not eating. Your coffee's gone cold. She pushed a cup toward me, her tone breezy as if nothing had happened. I don't have an appetite. I answered quietly, turning my gaze back to the street. You're always like this. She shook her head, smiling as if commenting on a useless doll. You're too emotional, always trying to control everything but never able to control me. Memories flashed like an old film. In college, at a dorm party, Erin said in front of friends, Mark, you don't have any spirit of adventure, you even hesitate to take a sip of hard liquor. She looked at everyone laughing, my face burned. Once I tried to throw her a surprise birthday party, she dismissed it in front of friends. Oh this? Mark, you're so thoughtful, but a bit childish. At work she publicly criticized my proposal in a meeting, too cautious. You never take risks. Everyone, is this what you call a safe plan? Colleagues laughed, I stood in a corner suffocating. At home she would use a soft tone to comment on my choices, you're always careful, but that's okay, I like that you're so attentive. But behind every tenderness was a sneer, a humiliation that numbed me and made me feel I would never be enough. Now she had escalated that humiliation and put betrayal right in front of me. Jonah's appearance and the pregnancy test in the trash were like a message, you will always be kept off the stage. I didn't fly into rage or argue. Instead I calmly gathered evidence. I began doing a few things quietly. I installed cameras in key places at home to record Erin and Jonah's interactions, including her comings and goings. I went through their chat records, texts and social apps, saving everything, annotating each message with time, place, and content, building a complete timeline. I collected bills and photos, restaurant receipts, hotel invoices, photographs, backing everything up for future revenge. I consulted a lawyer friend to learn about asset division and evidence gathering rules to ensure my revenge wouldn't break the law. One night Erin came home and found me tidying the kitchen. She arched an eyebrow. Why aren't you resting? What are you so busy doing? Just organizing things, I said calmly, sliding a recent screenshot into a folder. She stared at me, testing. Are you going to lose it? No, my voice was low but my eyes were cold. Just putting facts in order. That night I recalled Jonah and her embracing in front of me, in the living room, me laughing brightly while Aaron leaned against his shoulder. I stood in the kitchen corner listening to their laughter like air. When did you get so calm? Erin sat on the sofa, fiddling with her phone, her expression a mix of bafflement and provocation. I've always been calm. I replied, holding the chat logs arranged in order. You just didn't see it. Over the next few days I tracked their movements, recording every date in detail. Once she was leaving and I stopped her. Wait. What for? She frowned. I put a tablet in front of her showing chats, photos, and receipts. You think I don't know? Her expression froze from ease to stiffness. Are you threatening me? She stammered. I shook my head. Not a threat. Just facts. In that moment a power began to build inside me, all the past humiliations and scorn became the energy for a cold revenge. I realized revenge didn't require shouting, it only required gathering facts so she could be left with nowhere to hide, revealing her true face to everyone. Every time she mocked or belittled me, I simply nodded, my gaze calm and determined, like a blade hidden beneath a gentle surface. Weeks later I finally compiled a complete set of evidence, a clear timeline, photos, chat logs, receipts. Then it ceased being an idea and became an inevitable action, every humiliation would be answered, every betrayal exposed. You're crazy, Tony. What do you think you're doing? Erin screamed, pointing a trembling finger at the documents on the table. George stood beside her, pale. I stood calmly in the center of the dining room and laid out the chat logs, receipts, and photos one by one. This is everything you've been doing since last month. Every date, every lie, it's all recorded here. You can't, Erin stammered. You're publicly shaming me. Facts are facts. I said coldly. No threats, no intimidation, just facts. She tried to snatch the files, her hands shaking. Please, don't do this. I'll leave, I'll move out, I'll compensate. I shook my head. This is not the time for bargaining. You toyed with me, my home, my life. Now you must bear the consequences. George's face drained of color, his voice trembled. Tony, I beg you, don't ruin me. I fixed him with my gaze, speaking icily, fear is what you should feel. You chose betrayal, now face it. A few days later Erin moved out of the house, Jonah left the city. Their circle of friends began to distance themselves, projects at work were reallocated due to the breach of trust. For the first time she was isolated, her eyes were full of fear and shame. Her mother called, her voice heavy with disappointment. What on earth have you done? I just looked out at the street. My heart was calm. The past humiliations and betrayals had been thrown back at them by the weight of facts and evidence. On the phone, George pleaded in a low voice, Tony, I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I set the phone down and replied calmly, I gave you choices. Now you must accept the consequences. In the end, Erin and George completely lost control and were left without support, while I reclaimed my dignity and my life. The city's lights outside still buzzed and noisy, but my life had finally returned to order.